Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining our live session today. My name is Larissa. I'm an event planner at Reactor, joining you from Brazil. Before we start, I have some quick housekeeping. Please take a moment to read our code of conduct. We seek to provide a respectful environment for both our audience and presenters. While we absolutely encourage engagement in the chat, we ask that you please be mindful of your commentary, remain professional and on topic. The session is being recorded and will be available to view on demand here on the Reactor YouTube channel within 48 hours. Keep an eye on the chat. We'll be dropping helpful links and checking for your questions. I will now turn it over to our speakers for today. Thank you all, and let's welcome Brian and Felipa.
Hello! We're ready. It's here in Denmark. It's 5 p.m. What's the time at your end, Felipa?
I'm at 8 a.m. Pacific. I'm here in
You're at
California.
8 a.m. Pacific. I'm in Central Europe.
All right.
Welcome to this session, the future of AI in Microsoft Fabric, data agents and beyond. It's almost like Toy Story. To infinity and beyond. No, sorry.
Yes.
We have a lot of ground to cover today, so the first couple of slides will be like fast. But the first slide is actually a presentation of you, Felipa. So go.
Hello. I'm a Microsoft Student Ambassador, and I actually also just graduated, so I'll be actually offboarding next week. It's been an amazing 2.5 years. Absolutely love Microsoft and the ecosystem. And so I stepped forward as a lead of a Fabric user group. I am the location, intelligence, and security user group, so come hang out with us. If you're interested in those topics, we do all sorts of content related to that. And that's it. I'll turn it over to you, Brian.
Thank you. Yes, and I also have a slide about myself. But I'll try to make it as short as you. I'm Brian. I'm from Denmark. I'm a Microsoft Data Platform MVP. Been so for a couple of years now. I love data, and I also ride my motorcycle here in Denmark. And when I'm bored, which never happens, I love to do it-yourself projects. I drive my own business, Appropriate.dk. I've written a reference guide for KQL language, and you can always find me on LinkedIn. I guess that's it. The next couple of slides is actually just QR codes for you to scan. And the producers behind the scenes will also give you these links in the chat. So if you miss a QR code, just take it from the chat. You'll see it historically there. So the first one is 60 days of data and AI. I guess we're not, if you are joining today, you can't make it to 60 days because we are on session, what, 2 or 3?
We're in week 2, but we do know that in this time between now and August 7th, we are going to cover, like, there's hundreds of events. There's the official ones here on Reactor, and then I know my user group is kind of a small piece of that, but we have 7 events. We just did our first one on Tuesday, and 6 more to come.
Exactly. So if you want to join more, just scan this QR code, and you are well on your way to sign up for more data days. The next one is, of course, we're doing this to help you get certified, either in Fabric or in SQL. It's up to you, or both. aka.ms/dd/cert is the shortcut to get a guide on how to get certified. We are helping you today on AI and chatbots and AI and so forth. So let's get going. Study group. Felipa, have you been in a study group?
I haven't yet. I need to, though, because it's on my roadmap to pass in the DB600, DB700, DB800. So I'm all for it, and actually I think I would actually really do well to jump in onto that, but I haven't yet. I've actually been busy planning my events, but now they're kind of rolling and on their way. So I think that is I'll be joining you guys in the study group.
Yeah. And study groups are amazing ways to ask questions and get your head around all the terms and descriptions that Microsoft uses on documentation and learn and all that kind of stuff. So also to get around all the quirky areas and corners of the service you're trying to get certified in. So go ahead and join that. Community. This is the community. We are the community. People are the community. Community is all over the place. No matter where you live, almost in the world. You can find a community close to you. aka.ms/dd/connect is the way to find it. No matter if you're Power BI, Fabric, SQL Server, AI, something, you can find a community right there. Yeah, you're driving a user group, right? You are driving a user group, right?
Yeah, I am.
You're
So
right.
I was
Yeah.
going to say the user groups tend to be divided by location, so you can kind of look for one near you. But they're also, my group is global and we're topic related, so you can sort of go either way.
Exactly. So it's very, very. Last but not least, actually the contents and hands-on challenges. From time to time, Microsoft starts hands-on challenges to challenge you to learn the services or the product. And they also have contents. The Power Data Wiz is running right now. And round one was, I guess, last week or something, 10 days ago or something. And we have round 2 and 3 in July. You can find them there, and you can also find other contents and hands-on challenges.
Yeah,
So
and I'd say
these are
they're such a great way to build your portfolio. That's
exactly.
kind of where I am, just as a recent graduate, in that sort of getting all my certs and getting all my kind of portfolio really presentation ready. So great ways to build your portfolio and those
Exactly.
hands-on skills.
Yeah. And speaking of skills, data whiz. I'm not a data wizard, but I know people are, and I've seen amazing dashboards being built on Power BI data whiz. This is blatantly out of my mind what they can build. So this is, if you haven't attended, just look at what they're building and be inspired by what they're doing, or join the contest round 2 or 3, and live finale at September 29th. So amazing.
And that will be in Barcelona.
That will be in Spain, in
That's Europe.
Barcelona, at
Yep.
FabCon. That's
Yeah.
Speaking of FabCon, are you joining FabCon, Philippa?
I've been before, and I'm excited to go again. I will see what the schedule looks like for the fall. Haven't quite. It's on my roadmap, and we'll be talking about roadmaps as we wrap out today. So, very excited. Just love to see everybody there.
Yeah. If you haven't gotten enough of QR codes, we have yet another slide of QR codes, 3 in total. We both have the user panel, the IQ user panel, and the SQL user panel. User panel fabric from Microsoft is your voice being heard by Microsoft. If you have feedback, if you have ideas, if you have something that doesn't work, or you have, the next thing you should develop should be this or something, join a user panel that fits your topic, and then Microsoft will actually hear what you have to say. Yes. The last slide with QR codes, sessions. We are on session, I don't know, something, June 24. We're not even there. So these are the other dates that you can join, June 25 and June 25, that's tomorrow. Get certified, exam day, what to expect and how to pass. I guess that's a limited amount of slides they have there on that session. So it's a very inspiring session to join tomorrow at the same time. And a bit later tomorrow, SQL Hackathon, an amazing session to also join. But we have more sessions throughout August 6th, so join them at aks.ms/dd/schedule, and you get to go.
Yeah, and I'd say if you're looking at the DP 800, about 1 o'clock tomorrow for us, the SQL Hackathon, it's great for that study material.
Yes. But, Philippa, it's not just you and I.
That's true.
In the back end, on the backside, chatting live with you, answering all your questions, we have, first of all, Johan from Norway, I guess, head of data and AI at Innova. He's also a data platform MVP. He has been speaking live on these sessions historically, and he also will be in the future. But today he's in the back end, helping us answer all your questions live. We also have Rajendra. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing this correctly, I hope. Also Microsoft Data Platform MVP, helping us behind the scenes. And last but not least, we have 3 helpers today. Vikus, a Fabric super user, an amazing guy who answers a lot of questions on the user group, on the community in Microsoft Fabric user what the community sites. So be nice to them. They are really trying their best to answer all your questions. And if you answer a very, very good question, they will pass that on to us directly in the studio for us to answer live. So just stay on top of the chat.
Okay, so what we'll cover today: why data agents? Data agents, what's new? and the architectural musings, the data science, what's new, and the roadmap ahead, which hopefully leads us all to Barcelona.
Yeah, exactly. The roadmap to Barcelona. All roads lead to Barcelona. So, first of all, I need to ask, why data agents, Philippa?
We're all going into agents everywhere. That is to ground your data insights on enterprise knowledge. And for consumers, you've got the end user, you've got the agents, the applications, and developers. And data agents work across Fabric, Copilot Studio, AI Foundry, M365, and AI endpoint MCP.
Exactly. And no matter what you're doing in all of these services, you are actually consuming a data agent. But a data agent is, from my point of view, it is just an API endpoint that you call, and then the agent answers you based on the AI behind the scenes. So I look at a data agent just as an API endpoint, and then behind the scenes there are some magical compute that does things for me that I have configured. Speaking of behind the scenes, this could also be a different drawing of how a data agent actually works. It sits in between the end users, the consumers, and the consumer is not a person. It can also be an application like Office or Teams or whatever. And it connects through Fabric to all the enterprise data. Or it doesn't have to be Fabric, but normally with the data agent, it is through Fabric. And no matter where your data resides, it will use that data and then answer you on a grounded manner, so it doesn't hallucinate. If you configure this correctly, the data agent does not hallucinate and just forces itself to answer. If it can't find the answer, it will tell you to. Have you ever gotten an extreme hallucinated answer from a data agent?
I haven't. I think of a data agents, if this is correct, so I remember the first time I ever heard the word term RAG, and I was like, wait, what? And then I was like, oh, this makes sense. And I do it all the time with my own LLM. I give it the documents or the data that I want it to analyze, and let's talk about this. And I tell it what this is. And so it's basically you're just using your agent to inform your analysis with your enterprise data or knowledge. So the agent is an informed agent and not a hallucinating one, because agents don't, or AI doesn't really always know how to say, I don't know. It will just say, oh, I got an answer for you, even if it's complete nonsense. So using data agents now kind of grounds it in that knowledge and gives it a source of truth.
Yeah, and grounding is perhaps the highest topic of AI, because we need validated answers, not a hallucinated something, but a grounded answer that we can reproduce on our data inside the enterprise. So the illustration has stopped for some reason. I don't know why, but the bubbles should still go into the consumer's part. And speaking of grounding, sorry, you were saying, Philippa?
Oh, it came back just at the end. It sort of, the animation continued. Okay. We're good. We continue.
Thanks to PowerPoint. Speaking of grounding, we can also ground our AI agents through Microsoft Fabric using the ontology. And every time a client asks me, what is this Fabric IQ thingy? I try to tell them that, hey, you have business data and you have business processes. If you can model business processes in a relationship diagram, just bubbles and lines, and bubbles are things or artifacts and lines are connections. A conveyor belt transports goods. If you can do those kind of mappings, then you can also build a graph based on that. And on that graph, we can then bind the enterprise data. And then you have a very, very big muscle to flex through the Fabric IQ, because now you can do multi-factor join questions and answers through your data agent. This is an amazing tool. I just love it.
And actually, I want to say, so in my graduate studies, so my journey through grad school, and I've got 3 degrees, the second one was geospatial. And so when I started my GIS program, the first course we had was ontology.
Amazing. And knowledge graph. Yeah, exactly. So if you haven't tried Fabric IQ, go ahead and try it out. There's also online resources for you to try out Fabric IQ in different scenarios. Find them on Microsoft Lab. But Today we're talking about consuming agents. What is an agent and how do we actually use it? So Fabric Data Agent in M365. This is amazing because if you have a data agent in Fabric, you can actually use that in M365 for consuming. Right now, this is in public preview, but the Fabric Data Agent can then reason over all your data that you have in one lake. And if that's not enough, then the creators behind the data agent can actually enrich the data in Copilot using the Fabric Data Agents. So the M365 Copilot can lean back on what's happening in the data and use that for a grounded answer. So that's amazing.
And I also had to say, I love public preview because I'm not enterprise, and you get to use it for free, because then I've used things that have then gone into general availability, and I was like, that's not my budget because I'm not enterprise. But you get to really use some really cool stuff when it's in public preview. So check it out.
Yeah. Public preview is for far most of them for free. So just go ahead and try it out until they announce the now this will be built. Just go ahead and use it because it is quite fun to do private previews. This should be a GIF, but it is not. And the GIF should show that, hey, we have different events going out inside Microsoft Fabric. We have flight events. These are the live data from flights. And we have also the flight DB, which is the reference data for flights, like the tail numbers and the crew and this stuff. And then we can begin to answer questions based on that. Hey, what kind of flights is inbound that needs to be outbound within the next 30 minutes? Because that is a stressful thing going on at the gate. We can begin to answer those questions and we can begin to ask those questions and get answers based on our data live, what's happening behind the scenes.
I finished building Fabric data agents that focus on airline.
Can you hear this sound?
Data. To make it
I can, faintly.
As an end user, I can simply go ahead and publish it. Thanks to the new integration between Fabric data agents and M365 Copilot, you can now use data agents directly in Microsoft 365. This means that Microsoft 365 users can discover and interact with published data agents that they have access to, from the desktop application, the web, and from Teams. Here, in M365 Copilot in Teams, you can see the data agent we just published. I can seamlessly start conversations with my agent, get insights about my data, as well as visualizations along with the answers. I'm going to use my data agent to perform a comparative analysis of airline passenger no-show rates, examining how these rates vary across different booking channels and cabin classes. My agent is now interpreting the question and
it stopped for some reason. I'm sorry for that. It stopped, but let me see. Can I start this again?
retrieving the answer from its data sources in Fabric. I can also ask my agent to visualize its response. The agent is now producing a visual representation of the data. And just like that, I get a customized chart. To securely share my agent with others in my organization, I simply choose the share option, copy the link, and share it with my colleagues. Administrators in Microsoft 365 can also choose to enable specific data agents for given security groups in their organization. But there is more. Office users can now also leverage Fabric data agents directly in Office applications. Here, I'm in Excel, and I can simply launch the Microsoft 365 Copilot pane. I can navigate to my data agent and start interacting. I can even leverage the responses and the charts directly in my spreadsheet. With the integration of Fabric data agents in Microsoft 365 Copilot, I can now connect my enterprise data in Fabric with the applications and productivity tools that I use every day.
Perfect. That was a live demo. I like that. And amazing that I can just connect to it from Excel now also. We need to talk governance about Excel, but that's a different topic. Let's see what's on the next slide. Fabric Data Agents integration with Copilot Studio. Have you tried this, Philippa?
I do. I use Copilot Studio, and I have built agents and they're amazing what they can do. So, not they've built agents, connected agents is a better way to put it, and then you give them the directions that you want. So you can enrich custom copilots with Fabric data expertise. The Fabric data agents can reason over and synthesize data in one lake for insights. AI creators can enrich custom Copilot agents in Copilot Studio with Fabric data agents expertise. I've done that. And you put your security permissions in, including your row level security, your column level security, that stay respected. So, and I'm a big security person, so I think that's always really important.
Great, amazing, perfect. And we can also use it in, I'm trying to switch slides, Azure AI Foundry, of course. Azure AI Foundry, if you haven't tried it out, it is, from my perspective, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Philippe, but it is the central place in Azure where you handle all your AI, both data agents, operational agents, LLMs, and configure the way that your enterprise works with AI. That's in AI Foundry.
Right. So I've actually also enabled agents connected to Fabric through AI to Azure AI Foundry. And what's amazing about it is there's a wonderful playground where you get to choose your different models and try out different things and see which model is going to be optimal for the task that is at hand. So you get to actually see how it works connected with different model types.
Yeah, exactly. So now we've been through both the Fabric data agents. We've been in Fabric data agents in AI Foundry, and in Fabric data agents in M365. The next and
there it is, the playground that I'm talking about. Agent playground. You just go in and you just get to play with it, like literally play, and see what will work best for your use case.
Yeah, and then you can configure it and tweak it to fit your needs. So amazing. MCP servers, data agent MCP server. This is, multi-context protocol server where we can connect to a data agent directly. Use the MCP server to manage your data agent with other LLMs. So an MCP server is just your gateway between you are chatting with an LLM and what's happening behind the scenes on the other side of that MCP server. And in this case, the data agent. So it is a first-class access to enterprise knowledge through the MCP server, and it enables users to actually chat with your data through the MCP server on the data agent and get the prompt in return. This is just blazingly amazing enterprise. I love this because I'm a coding approach person. So code first is my way, and as you see on this GIF, we get JSON, we get Markdown, we get all the kinds of things that a code first developer loves.
And it just makes me smile that it's in public preview, so you can all check it out. It's not gated yet, and so you can really see kind of the value. And then once you have that value, then you can sort of upsell it to enterprise of why you can continue the adoption, because I'm a big fan of public preview.
Exactly. So this was all about public preview, what you can test out for free today. But we also need to talk about what's coming and what's new. General availability data agent in Microsoft Fabric, that this was announced in Atlanta at FabCon, where we can now use data agents inside Microsoft Fabric. It's in GA, so now we get to pay for it. But we can also now use data agents for almost anything that we want inside Fabric. Bind it to data, give it instructions, and publish the API, and then actually you're good to go. And it is a clicky something configuration. You can of course use the APIs to do this, but for now, I would encourage you to use the UI to configure the data agents. Later on, I hope we will get CLI interface and API support for anything inside data agents. Yeah.
But they're easy to access, they're easy to deploy and use and connect. I mean, it's something I've had fun working with, and they're useful.
They are. And you can actually export them and use them in Teams. So if you have a data agent, you can enable that in Teams, and then you're good to go. You have a chat agent directly into Fabric on your data, on your enterprise data. So now the IT department or the CEO doesn't have to run down to the BI department to ask questions. He can just chat with it in Fabric. Yet another demo, and bear with me. I'll try to stop the slide deck and re-share it, and then I'll share it with audio. So the backend people, I'll stop my slide deck sharing, and then I'll re-enable it, and then hopefully you'll have a better sound. So bear with me for just a few seconds. I'll stop this, and then I'll add it, and then I'll share my screen, and I'll share the entire screen, and also the audio, and click share, and got it. And then we need the backend people to enable that. Now, let's hope that this demo works with sound. Hang tight.
I'm an analyst at Zava, and I've built a data agent in Fabric called Zava Trade Expert. This agent connects information across multiple sources. One of the sources is an event hub that tracks real-time customer activity. We've added a new capability that allows data agents to leverage SQL or SQL functions. This allows you to encapsulate complex logic and functions that the agent can call. This approach makes answers more reliable and easier to maintain. Next, I want to highlight Graph as a new data source supported in data agents. Here, I'm connecting the agent to our finance loan graph. What makes a graph powerful is that it captures rich relationships across entities. Here, you can see the nodes and edges in our graph source. Now, let's take a look at the agent configurations. Here, we have high-level instructions describing the role of the agent and the type of insights it should provide. Then for each data source, we've added detailed instructions. These instructions help the agent on how to best retrieve and structure the response. Now let's ask a test question that targets the graph source. Trace the life cycle of a loan from application to servicing. What stages exist? The agent recognizes that this question relates to the loan graph, and it uses its built-in tool to traverse the graph and construct an answer. The response comes back as a structured explanation of the end-to-end process. I've also added another source, a retail ontology. The value of an ontology is that it provides business context and meaning. So instead of reasoning only over raw data structures, the agent can interpret questions using the language of the business. And the nice part is that this requires no additional setup in the data agent. Now let's publish the agent so it can be used outside of Fabric to answer questions over our data sources, including the context in our retail ontology. Once published, the Zava Trade Expert becomes available directly in Microsoft 365. I can simply select my data agent and start asking questions. Which regions have the most customers but the fewest stores? This question runs against the retail ontology, and the Fabric data agent returns a rich response explaining the regions where customer concentration is high but store coverage is limited. The answer comes along a set of visualizations helping the user to better interpret insights. So with Fabric data agents, we can configure a domain expert, combining insights from a variety of data and knowledge sources.
Perfect. That was actually a good demo, and also actually a run through of how, I wouldn't say easy, but approachable it is to actually just build an agent, publish it, and use it wherever you are.
And just to recap what we were just saying, you could see it when it was thinking. It said connecting to MCP.
Exactly.
So you can see kind of it doing that thinking on the back end of where it needs to get to that gateway.
Exactly. So,
I'm an analyst at Zava, and I've built a data agent in Fabric called Zava Trade Expert. This agent connects information across multiple sources. One of the sources is an event house that tracks real-time customer activity. We've added a new capability that allows data agents to leverage KQL or SQL functions. This allows you to encapsulate complex logic and functions that the agent can call. This approach makes answers more reliable and easier to maintain. Next, I want to highlight Graph as a new data source supported in data agents. Here, I'm connecting the agent to our finance loan graph. What makes a graph powerful is that it captures rich relationships across entities. Here, you can see the nodes and edges in our graph source. Now, let's take a look at the agent configurations. Here, we have high-level instructions describing the role of the agent and the type of insights it should provide. Then for each data source, we've added detailed instructions. These instructions help the agent on how to best retrieve and structure the response. Now let's ask a test question that targets the graph source. Trace the lifecycle of a loan from application to...
I'll just stop this here because this is the same demo and that we just saw. I'm sorry for this. This is just a duplicate of the previous slide. So we will fast forward and say you've already seen this and take the next slide. Sorry for this mix-up. So we also have a new data source using the data agent is a GraphDB. If you have an external data source that has a GraphDB not in Fabric, or sorry, that you have a GraphDB available in Fabric, you can add this to your data agent directly. So it goes from natural language to SQL or to GraphQL and translate what you are asking into the native language of that data engine, in this case, GraphQL, and execute that query and gives you the answer back into a natural language form. Yes, I think that was it. But no data agent without having it getting better tomorrow and the day after. So we now also have audit logs on the data agent. So who is using what? And then we can now begin to ask data on audit logs, ask our data agent on audit logs. So what's happening behind the scenes on perhaps in Purview, and then it can begin to help you understand the audit logs behind the scenes on your data agent. This is amazing, directly in Purview, if you're using Purview in your enterprise, of course.
Yeah, and Purview is, to me, and again, I come from that security background with, so to me, this is your governance layer and your permissions layer and who gets to see what, so your role-based access and your individual, your row and column level controls and just everything in terms of what sensitive data you have and who can see what and where. And so to me, Purview should definitely be, it's part of Fabric, and to me, it's an important part of everybody understanding, how your data kind of what that compliance layer is. So I love that this is kind of integrated into the data agents as well, so that all of those permissions and instructions kind of come down to what the agent is doing as well. Because I think in some of my security talks, we have definitely seen, like, for all the amazing things agents do, we love them, but they're also becoming our largest new threat vector. So we have to, we have to control our agents.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of security, perhaps you have an opinion on this topic, outbound access protection.
Yes. So data exfiltration is a really big one because people can take data out. Some intra-insider threats are a threat as well. So sometimes we always think of it as bad actors kind of outside of our entities, but just sort of within the entities as well are things that we want to think about. And so data exfiltration, so data loss prevention, and so you can set limits on what types of data can go and what those sizes of data you can see. Kind of, oh, someone's trying to export something that very large amount of data. We don't want that. We can set those controls of you can block that outbound traffic from your data agent by default. And so it can be applied to the individual workspace level to enable granular control. You can create exceptions to allow traffic connections to access data sources outside the workspace, but to make sure that, so you're really managing data loss prevention, sort of in that sort of, so data exfiltration is a big thing, big topic, and that sort of falls into the sort of insider threat domain.
Yeah, totally agree. And data exfiltration is perhaps one of the biggest threats to organizations, because this is where you can get all your PI data exfiltrated, and then someone else uses it and takes over your business.
And let me add sort of one more thing on the security thing. Again, I do a lot of these talks. Is that we're saying machine identities are going to be the breach. So it's no longer just individual identity. So your agent has an identity and they can access things. So be clear about what they can access, and you want to refresh them from time to time. Don't just give them unlimited permissions forever. We as people are invited to refresh our credentials and update our passwords. And so, so machine identities need to have that same sort of security application.
Exactly. So SQL views and functions. A new thing in agents, if you have a SQL view or SQL function, this can also be a baseline data set for a data agent. Amazing. The speed of answers I have seen on views and functions are not as fast as a semantic model or graph or a faster database engine, but it still works. Because the query needs to execute, and if your SQL database is slow or not optimized or something, you'll get slow answers. But that's just the name of the game. And speaking of, Philippe, you just spoke about, hey, we have now identities about on our data agents. Perhaps you have an opinion on this also.
Yes, service principal authentication. So you got your app service principals to your access tokens to your data agents. So it's just kind of, I'll read what's here and then we'll kind of chat about it. So we're going to enable secure app-based access to Fabric data agents without requiring user sign-ins. So it can be really efficient and really streamlined, but that again, we want to just be aware of who has access to what. So concepts of data of cybersecurity and applying that to data science is still zero trust. So we trust our agents, and then we also want to not trust our agents. So making sure that you have least privilege of what an agent actually can. You want it to be seamless, but you still don't want to just give them access to everything all the time. Now they can connect to Foundry agents. So you connect your Foundry agents powered by Fabric data agents directly to your custom applications, and use SPMs for secure and seamless connection from your app to data agent MCP server. So anytime you have a security question, your attention is always how easy can we just get on with business versus how can we just make sure that this remains secure and doesn't get to things or have access where that access is not needed. So that's where you just kind of always want to sort of be aware of that tension. You still want people to get on with work, and we love seamless, but just be aware of you can still apply zero trust and least privilege to agents as well.
Exactly. And I love the fact that we can now use system assigned managed identities to authenticate through the chain of tokens and access. So the app only have the least privilege, and no one can authenticate as the app unless it is the app itself. This is an amazing feature to have this security, and that you feel safe during the night when you go to sleep, that hey, no one can breach this because it is a system assigned managed identity. That's just the way it goes. Perfect. So code interpreter, have you tried this, Philippa?
No. Tell me more.
Okay, the code interpreter is coming soon, but what I've heard and seen on the teeny tiny things that we see on the public sites from Microsoft is that it can now interpret your code, either your notebook code or your SQL code or whatever, and it can then execute the Python code behind the scenes if it doesn't find the correct code set in your existing notebooks. So if you have a question that it can't answer, it can run a notebook behind the scenes and find that answer for you. The first that pops into my mind, hey, what about security? But this runs in a sandbox environment, just like your DevOps pipeline. It runs in a sandbox environment that when it is done, it is killed. It is no longer existing on this world, nowhere on a server when that notebook has been executed, or the Python code, sorry. And then the data is not saved anywhere. The result is what you see on screen as the answer. This is just out of this box amazing. So if you haven't modeled your data and you want to have your data agent do that for you, it can do that, but be aware of the cost here, because we are executing Python behind the scenes in a closed environment. So your Fabric compute will be more or less hit by this because it is behind the scenes as service.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Also, visuals and data agents. This is just, I love this. Now, perhaps we don't need to do yet another Power BI report because someone asks a question and say, hey, can we get this in a visual manner? Data agent does that for you. And if you look very closely, it looks like Power BI. This is for a reason, because what I've seen and what you can also see here is that the visuals are not directly Power BI visuals, but they are, piggybacked into the data agent and used as the baseline for generating these visuals. This is my own opinion. I don't know what the real thing is behind the scenes, but it looks a lot like the Power BI visuals has been, extracted from Power BI and put into the data agents. It looks amazing.
Actually, speaking of something that didn't look so, just my love for Fabric. For example, I was playing with the data set and I was actually using it with Claude, and it created a visual for me, and I was doing it on a student poster, and so it was going to be very large. And I just, when I kind of did a little sample printout, it just wasn't, the resolution wasn't there, and I was like, oh, I just can't use this. I can't make it that big. So I asked Claude to help me create the code that it just wrote, and I popped it into my Fabric notebook, and it recreated everything just so beautifully and so crisp and so clean and totally printable and just looked spectacular. So these are like little ways I use the Fabric that I just love how much you can get done. And then again, now that we can add agents to all of this, even better.
Exactly. This is we are. I say this often. I think, and it sounds like something that a lot of people say, so sorry in advance. We are living in a world right now, in a time where if we follow along, we are on an amazing journey. I love it. So sorry for this, personal opinion.
No, it's good because I want to sort of speak to the fact, like I said, I'm coming at this from just a very avid learner, and I'm sort of still engaging it as a student. I have a paid Fabric account, but just as me, because I want to me, the learning and the application of this is so important, and then those skills can be transferred to enterprise. But I just want to encourage people, whether you're working in enterprise or you're not, just the ability to have your own account and demo and learn and build your portfolio will only create more opportunities and more things that you can do when you have that enterprise opportunity.
Exactly. Just for the note to our moderators, if you find a question that makes sense in the studio, let us know, and we will answer that live in the studio as we talk. So moving on to the next step is assisted setup mode. If you don't know how to build a data agent, you will get support on how to build it, and it can now begin to do complex visualizations built in that directly. So, sorry, I'm trying to switch slides. There you go. Sorry. Assisted setup mode. If you don't know how to build a data agent, you can get assistance on how to do that. It generates the context for you for the data agent and the configurations. And if you have a data agent that you think, hey, this needs a bit of tweaking, it can also help you tweak that data agent to narrow down the answers or to broaden the answers or whatever you need in that data agent. And besides that, it can also validate the configurations based on your input, saying, hey, this data agent has some wrong answers. How can I update the data? Can you fix it for me? Something. It will help you do that. This is coming soon, so I haven't tried it. The only thing I've seen is the demo from Microsoft at Atlanta. So hang tight and keep on top of the news things that are coming out. I'm on LinkedIn and I see it there. I don't know where people are, but we have people chatting about this on LinkedIn already from Microsoft. So stay tuned, I guess. And of course, now the AI understands SQL. So it can also optimize your SQL query generation. Because behind the scenes, when you ask a question from natural language to SQL, it tries to write the SQL that you have written in plain text. Now, this has not been perhaps the best implementation. It was good enough, but now it gets even better. That the SQL query that it generates behind the scenes gets even better, and it will provide the result back to you faster. I think that's it. It can also directly. Sorry, go.
Oh, I feel like this is built for me because my SQL is good, not great. So I always need help in writing my queries, even though it's so basic and I should understand this. I'm excited for this.
Oh, yeah. A fun slide, architectural musings. So what's happening? What about the technical designs here? Philippa, go.
All right, so Fabric data agents, technical design. So we talked about those consumers are those, the Fabric, the Azure Foundry, that Copilot, Teams, M365, that REST MCP. So now, and I'll start from the bottom now and work our way up, since that's the direction our animation is going. So you've got all of the places where your data is stored, your lakehouse, your warehouse, event models, event house, Mirror DB, SQL DB, Foundry Search, Ontology, graphs, bringing that up to enterprise data and knowledge, bringing that up to your data agent, your tools, your context, your configuration, bringing that up to publish and share that data agent, and then to the consumers we just identified. So it's open and compatible, support any data in Fabric built on industry standard stacks, and don't be weird. Follow industry standards, shape them where needed.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you, or just to change lines here. And we actually have a question from the audience that we could answer. It is from, sorry if I'm pronouncing this incorrectly, but Alpha Duty. Why for semantic model agent LLM is not used in clustering to choose answers? I can see that only for direct tables as source. Does it make sense to use, Philippa?
No, I need a little bit more on that. So I'm not sure that I understand the whole context. Not even the question. I'm just not even sure that is enough in my domain. So I might be yielding to you to answer that.
We could, if Alpha Duty is still online, give us more details, and we will happily answer this one in the chat. We have people passing the questions back to us. So if you have more on that question, let us know, and we will try to answer that question for you. 40 minutes left, and we have 20 slides, so we need to speed up a tiny bit. So let's see what happens.
Let's go.
Yeah, data agents flow. Well, first of all, we have a data agent that connects to a sales database. And we then have an end user asking how many customers bought X in the last month. So how many customers bought milk or something. Then that question is being handed over into a run agent where we try to translate what you are asking into SQL. So it translates how many customers bought X in the last month to select something from tables or something where group by, the shebang about SQL. And then it tries to fit, hey, what context is available? Do we have data? Do we have tools that fit, and all that kind of stuff? And if we find a tool that fits, it creates the query and executes it, and we get an answer. 2.3 million customers bought X. This is not the answer coming out from the SQL engine. The SQL engine just returns the data set in a table lookalike manner. And then again, the run agent translates this into natural language. 2.3 million customers bought milk. So it is not magic, but I like to see the run agent as the interpreter between natural language to the native code that we need to execute, and then it does. So first of all, we have the data agent the components. We have the Access API. This is the chat, the MCP I talked about in the beginning of the session. It is just an API that we're calling. Then we are using the prompt, either your AI your AI instructions, where you say, hey, you are a agent for a consumer shop selling milk, selling dairy products. You're putting those in instructions, and maybe you say, if people ask about, I don't know, bread, don't answer them. Only answer for dairy products. Then you pick your tool for your data source, and this is perhaps most important. One tool per data source. And then you have the code interpreter and the visuals. The code interpreter is what we just talked about. You ask a question. It interprets that into code and executes it to the engine that has that data, and then it returns the data to you. You also have context. Context is session history. Have you asked this question before? Can I find it in the cache? Or do you have a long chat with your agent about milk? Then it can also be a part of that session history. It knows who you are, so we have security. So if you can only ask for store A, you only get answers for store A. And it has the database metadata. What kind of tables do I have? The columns, the row count, and all of that stuff. So this is the component of a data agent. MCP server. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, now we're into MCP Server and Client in Data Agent. So your MCP servers, tools, functions for an agent to invoke, the resources, context for an agent to consider, and prompt templates for an agent to fill out and use. And then the data agent, and I'm going to talk about the MCP server as that gateway. Any data agent can be invoked as a tool. And the MPC client, part of an agent, connects the agent to an MPC server, invokes the tool, fetches the context and templates, and data agent is an MCP client. Every data source is a tool. And in the future, bring your own MCP server with tools.
Amazing, amazing. So in the future, we can now bring our own MCP servers and connect that to wherever we are, to the data agent, and we're good to go.
So I got MCP for structured data.
Yeah.
It's all you.
Thank you. If we have structured data and in tabular form, there's actually an MCP to get started on GitHub, the Model Context Protocol discussions 930, where we have a long introduction on how you can use your MCP for structured data. If you haven't tried it out, go ahead and try it out. This is quite amazing, because now if you have data in a SQL server or in a DocDB or whatever you have it, you can use this MCP server to connect to it, and then you have your AI agent connect to that data directly. But MCP here and there, all over the place. OpenClaw says, hey, from Peter Steinberger, hey, most MCPs should just be CLIs. And CLIs is a custom command line interface. Can we write a command line interface to this MCP server and connect to that? If you are using OpenClaw, if you're using Claude, if you're using GitHub CLI, if you're using something else, you can use MCP servers and use them in the command line interface. So this is great. But we have a problem. Philippa, what happens if we do this?
Yes, but what if the agent runs the CLI?
Exactly.
So the SQL command -q execute sp_ms for each table, drop table. What if he does things you don't want it to do?
Exactly. If this were the production environment and your agent has too much access or too much leverage, then it could actually drop your entire database tables, all of them. We don't want that. So limit the access for your agent, also the sort of principle behind the scenes, so it can also only read and not change the data. We have seen on LinkedIn different people having headaches because some LLM agents deleted their GitHub repo because it thought that it was bogus. So take care.
To kind of add the thought behind this, least privilege. So your agent should have least privilege. So yes. Read only is a great privilege. It can do what it needs to do, but giving it writing privileges, maybe not so much. Exactly. Or specifically writing that leads to deleting.
Exactly. So MCP servers are API for agents, as I said, and no matter how you connect to your agent, it's just an API, and the MCP server translates the API to an LLM for that to work with that data behind the scenes. So MCP servers just expose the API in appropriate manner for agents for them to use, and it also knows if you're a human, where the human resides, on which side of the MCP server is the human actually sitting, and also knows where the agent is and handles the communication between that. But again, take care, least privilege, and so we have a safeguard there. Data science. You love data science, Peter.
I do. AI functions, multimodal support. What is that multimodal? It's the idea that you can get, it's the text, it's the voice, it's the images, it's all of the modes. So AI functions now accept images, PDFs, text files as input, in addition to plain text. Turn a folder of unstructured files into a structured table in a single call with AI func.load. Use the same familiar AI functions, AI.classify, AI.summarize, AI.extract, AI.translate, and more. So yes, you can use it in all the ways.
Exactly. And we have more right here, data science, AutoML. Have you ever used AutoML?
I haven't yet. I'm excited to, and it's in GA. So we'll have to see if it's. I had to build my own enterprise budget. Let's just say this.
Exactly. So also ML is perhaps the lazy coder's way to create machine learning models, where you just put in the parameters and then the model behind the scenes sets up the training data. It gives you the model that it generates, and it does that based on trial and error. So it tries to find the largest area under the curve to find and to fit your model to whatever need you have. It's a low-code approach, and it's very easy to use. We are a bit in a hurry. We have 5 minutes left and 10 slides. So public preview, ML model, endpoint monitoring. We can now monitor the endpoints of a machine learning model and see usage, the performance, and the real adoption. Are people using it? What kind of questions are they using? Do we have questions that it cannot answer? Do we need to optimize it? And also, do we have questions that takes too long to answer, so we can optimize it perhaps with caching or pre-compute some of the data behind the scenes? All the kind of crazy things and insights you can get behind the scenes of the endpoint monitoring. Blazingly good feature. Have you tried this in public preview? It's for free, Philippa.
I'm going to. I'm excited because I built machine learning models within Azure ML Studio, so I'm excited to bring it over here.
Yeah. And we have a tiny sneak peek. Log machine learning models across workspaces or from outside. Ooh, amazing. So now we can have a central log of machine learning models across workspaces in Fabric and see what's happening behind the scenes on my machine learning models across my entire data estate in Fabric. And then we can begin to log it, and we can begin to query it, and we can begin to analyze and optimize it. So that's amazing. I love it. MLflow 3. I haven't tried that. Do you know that, Philippa?
No, it's exciting. I'm so happy to be here, just because we're getting to see all this new stuff.
Yeah, machine learning flow is the engine that helps you understand the version of your models and can give you the governance and insight behind the scenes on the models that you have, and you can promote models to go in production, and you can depromote them and promote another one. It's more or less just, I tend to see it as a version control for machine learning models, where I can see what models do I have facing my end users, and what models am I working on and on the verge to update to the next level. I know this is the very simple way to present it, but this is how I look at it. It comes now in a version 3.x. We don't know, but hopefully with new functionality. Data science roadmap. Woo, roadmaps. We love roadmaps. What's happening behind the scenes from Microsoft? Data science, MLflow 3. We just talked about that. Log models across workspaces and from outside. Pre-built content understanding. If you have the pre-built data set that Fabric or data science already knows, it can just adopt that out of the box. A store. If you have a machine learning model that you want to sell or something, you can buy. You can sell and offer on the machine learning store. This is quite amazing. I do not know the DNN shortening. Do you know that one, Philippa?
I know NN is oftentimes nearest neighbor, because ANN would be approximate nearest neighbor. So DNN, I'm not sure. Training with
something
GPU.
about nearest neighbors training with the GPU in Fabric. It's amazing. And bring your own machine learning runtime. If you have a special machine learning runtime that you want to use that in data science. And MLOps, of course, model alias, model registry, automation, that kind of stuff. It is coming. The roadmap for data agents. Private previews right now. You need an invite to get on the private previews, visualizations, and creator assistant workflows. This is why you see people talking about it, because it is a private preview. And improve natural language SQL. So when you write something, it quickly it translates into SQL more effectively. And coming soon, we don't know what's happening. Improved analysis tools, code interpreter, where it can begin to, we just talked about it, execute Python behind the scenes and do stuff for you. Agent observability in Foundry. I don't know that. Have you heard about that, Philippa? Agent, no? Service principal authentication. Love that. Least privilege. Remember that. Secure your dataset. Schema descriptions. Create a consumer feedback loop. So if you are creating an agent, and your end users have feedback, they can write comments to that agent that you as the creator see. And unstructured data in one lake, love to see that. So hopefully that will come very, very soon. We have FabCon coming up in Barcelona in just a few months.
Very excited.
A lot of new links here. If you want to get started, take a screenshot now, and remember all of these links for you, for you to reference to get started. The Power BI Semantic Model data agents and call data endpoints, how to use that on the SDK software development kit. Incoming data agent private previews. If you want to join the private preview, scan this QR code. And then you can be hopefully adopted into the private preview of data agents incoming.
And I do have a quick edit. Sure. I had to look it up real quick because I was thinking like my data science on the I saw NN and I was like nearest neighbor, and then I was like my next thought was neural networks, and then I had to look it up real quick. It is deep neural network, DNN.
Deep neural network. Of course, it makes sense. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I couldn't leave that unanswered. I was like I need to know this.
Exactly.
We all need to know this.
Yeah. Oh, we got something for free.
Free certs. We love free certs.
Yeah. Get a certification voucher on aka.ms/dd/certs and sign up. You need to fill out a form, and then you get that approved, and then you get a link with a voucher, I guess. Last slide of today. We almost made it within an hour.
It's data days. It's Fabric Data Days. We're so excited that you're here. You're part of this, and we're here for it, and we're here all summer.
Yeah. A huge thank you to the attendees, and a huge thank you to the producers behind the scenes. And last but not least, a huge thank you to our moderators, because they have been answering questions like madness. I've seen the comments and the questions in the chat. You have been amazing on asking questions, and they have been even more amazing on answering them. So thank you to the attendees. Thank you to the moderators. Thank you, Philippa. This was amazing.
Yes, and thank you, Brian. And one last shout out. This Saturday is Global Fabric Day. So there'll be lots of events. If you want to look for your local community-led events, check out this Saturday for Global Fabric Day.
Yeah.
Leave it at that. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you all for joining, and thanks to our speakers and moderators. Here at the Reactor, we are always looking to improve our sessions and your experience. If you have any feedback for us, we would love to hear what you have to say. You can find the link to our survey on the screen or in the chat. And with that, we'll see you on the next